Hi, welcome to this Corbettmaths video. In this video, we're going to look at the video solutions to the Multiplying Terms practice questions. If you need any extra help on multiplying terms, if you go to corbettmaths.com/contents and scroll down to video number 18, there's a dedicated video tutorial there on multiplying terms. Alternatively, you could scan this QR code. But in this video, we're going to focus on the video solutions to the practice questions, so let's get started. So question number one. Question number one says simplify W multiplied by 5. So whenever we multiply letters by numbers, we just put them together and put the number at the front. So if we do W multiplied by 5, that will just be 5W because that's 5 lots of W. Okay, question number two. Question number two says simplify 2 multiplied by 5m. So whenever we're multiplying these terms together, what we're going to do is we're going to multiply the numbers to begin with. So 2 times 5 is 10. And then we've got our m, so it's going to be 10m. So 10m. So just to recap, if we had 2 lots of 5m, that would be 10m. Just doing 2 times 5 is 10, and then putting the m there, 10m. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 3. So question number 3 says simplify x multiplied by x. So when we multiply something by itself, we're squaring it. So x times x is just x squared. And that's it. So x multiplied by x is x squared. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 4. So question number 4 says simplify a multiplied by c multiplied by b. So whenever we multiply letters together like this, what we're going to do is we're just going to put them together. So that'll be A, C, B. But generally we would put them in alphabetical order. So instead of doing A, C, B, we're going to write A, B, C. And that just means A multiplied by B multiplied by C. So A times C times B would be A, B, C. Just put them in alphabetical order. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 5. So question number 5 says simplify x multiplied by y multiplied by 3. So whenever we multiply these terms together, what we're going to do is we're going to put our 3 at the front, so it'll be 3. And then we've got xy, and in alphabetical order, that'll be xy. So the answer would be 3xy. So the answer is 3xy. Just putting the 3 at the front, and then putting the letters after it in alphabetical order. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 6. So question number 6 has got a few parts. So let's start off with part A. We've got 8 times y times 2. So let's multiply the numbers to begin with. 8 times 2 is 16, and then we've got y, so the answer would be 16y. And that's it. Okay, next we've got a times a times a. Well, that's going to be a cubed because we've got a multiplied by itself and by itself again, and there's 3 a's multiplied together, so that'll be a, and then the power would be 3, so a cubed. Okay, next, part C. Part C, we've got 3 multiplied by a multiplied by c. Well, we're multiplying these together. Now, in terms of the numbers, we've just got 3, and then we've got ac, so we're just going to put them together. So the answer would be 3ac, and the letters in alphabetical order, so the answer would just be 3ac. Okay, let's have a look at our next part, part D. So part D says w multiplied by 5 multiplied by e. So let's put the number at the front, so we're going to have 5. And then the letters, let's put them in alphabetical order, so that's going to be EW. So the answer would be 5EW. Okay, next, part E. Part E, we've got 2y multiplied by y. Well, we've just got a 2 there, so let's put our 2 at the front. And then we've got y times y, and y times y is y squared, so the answer would be 2y squared. So 2y times y would be 2y squared. Okay, let's look at our next part, part F. Part F, we've got 3a multiplied by 4c. So let's multiply the numbers together. So we've got 3 times 4, that's 12. And then we've got ac, so it'd just be 12ac. And that's it. So 3a times 4c would be 12ac. Okay, let's have a look at part G. Part G, we've got 5w times 6w. So let's do 5 times 6. So 5 times 6 is 30, so that's 30. And then we've got w times w. Well, w multiplied by itself will be w squared. So the answer would be 30w squared. Okay, and finally, part H. Part H, we've got 2m squared multiplied by 4m. So let's multiply the numbers to begin with. We've got 2 times 4, that's 8. And then we've got m squared multiplied by m. So that's m times m times m. So it's going to be m cubed. So if we had m squared and we multiply that by another m, that'll be m cubed. So 2m squared multiplied by 4m would be 8m cubed. And that's it. Okay, let's have a look at our next question. So our next question, question number 7. So question number 7 says, which of the following expressions is not equal to the others? So we're going to have to work them all out. So we've got 4a multiplied by 2y. So 4 times 2 is 8. And then we've got ay, so ay. So that's 8ay. Next, we've got 8a times y. So just put them together would be 8ay. So they're the same. Okay, next, we've got 2ay multiplied by 4a. So 2 times 4 is equal to 8. Then we've got a times a, that's a squared. And then we've got our y. So 2ay multiplied by 4a would be 8a squared y. And finally, let's just check our last one. We think this is going to be our answer. Which of the following expressions? So we think it's going to be this one. It's going to be the one that's not equal to the others. Let's just check. a multiplied by 8y. Well, let's put the 8 at the front, and then we've got ay, so it's going to be 8ay, and that's it. So which of the following is not equal to the others? Well, it's going to be that one, and that's our answer, 2ay multiplied by 4a, and that's it. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 8. So question number 8 says, Aaron is trying to simplify 3y multiplied by y, and his answer is 4y. Explain his mistake. Well, here we've got 3y multiplied by y. Let's work out what the answer would be. Well, we've got 3, and then we've got y times y. That would be y squared. So 3y multiplied by y would be 3y squared. Now his answer is 4y, so he hasn't actually multiplied these together. He's added 3y plus y would be 4y. So Aaron's mistake is Aaron's worked out 3y plus y, which is 4y, not 3y multiplied by y, which would be 3y squared. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 9. So question number 9 says, a rectangle has got a length of 5x and a width of 2y, and we've been asked to find an expression for the area of the rectangle. So to find the area of a rectangle, we multiply the length by the width. So we need to multiply these together. So we've got 5x, and we're going to multiply that by 2y. So if we multiply these together, let's multiply the numbers first. 5 times 2, that's equal to 10. And then we've got x times y, that would be xy. So if we multiply 5x by 2y, the answer would be 10xy. And that's it. So the area of the rectangle is 10xy. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 10. So question number 10 says, simplify y multiplied by y multiplied by y. So whenever we multiply y by itself, we get y squared. And then if we multiply it by another y, that's y cubed. So that's y cubed. And we've got 3 y's multiplied together, so it's y cubed. If we had 4 y's, if there was another multiplied by y, it'd be y to the power 4 and so on. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 11. So question number 11 says simplify 5 multiplied by m multiplied by p. So let's multiply the numbers first, well it's just 5. And then we've got mp, so it's going to be 5 mp, just putting them together. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 12. So question number 12 says simplify w to the power 5 multiplied by w cubed. So whenever we want to work out something like this, where we've got w to the power 5 multiplied by w to the power 3, or w cubed, and because we've got the same base, w and w, what we're going to do is we're just going to add the powers. So if we have w to the power 5 multiplied by w to the power 3, we just add the powers, it would be w to the power of 8. And let's have a look and see why. Well, w to the power 5 would be w multiplied by w multiplied by w multiplied by w multiplied by w. So that's w to the power 5. W cubed is w multiplied by w multiplied by w. And if we're to times them together, that'll be w times 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 w, which is w to the power of 8. And the shortcut is, if you've got the same base, so here we've got w to the power of something, multiplied by w to the power of something, we can just add the powers. And 5 plus 3 is equal to 8, so the answer is w to the power of 8. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 13. So question number 13, we've been asked to simplify 5a multiplied by 3a multiplied by 2a. Well, let's multiply the numbers to begin with. 5 times 3 is 15, times 2 is 30, so it's going to be 30. And then we've got a times a times a. Well, a times a times a is a cubed. So the answer would be 30a cubed. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 14. So question number 14, we've been asked to simplify p multiplied by s multiplied by 5. So let's put our number at the front, 5, and then let's put our letters in alphabetical order. So we've got ps, so they are in alphabetical order, so it's going to be 5ps. Okay, let's have a look at question number 15. So we've been asked to simplify 9 multiplied by c multiplied by d multiplied by 3. So let's multiply the numbers to begin with. 9 times 3 is equal to 27, so that's 27. And then we've got c times d. Well, that's just going to be cd. So the answer would be 27 cd. So 9 times 3 is 27. And then we've got cd, so it's going to be 27 cd. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 16. So question number 16, we've been asked to simplify, and this is a calculator question, which is quite nice because we've got 74c multiplied by 21d. So let's multiply the two numbers to begin with. So we're going to do 74 multiplied by 21, and on our calculator, I've just worked that out to be 1,554. And then we've got cd, so it's going to be 1,554 cd. And that's it. So if we were asked to simplify 74c multiplied by 21d, the answer would be 1,554 cd. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 17. So question number 17 says, Isla is simplifying y plus 2y multiplied by y. And we've been asked to circle the correct answer. Now, it's very important whenever you're given a calculation like this to use the correct order of operations. And they are any brackets? No. any orders or indices. Some people use O or I here, depending on which letter you like to use. So orders are any squareds or cubes or squares and so on, so no. Then any divisions or multiplications. Now we do have a multiplication. So if we were working out this, so if we had y plus 2y multiplied by y, we would have to do the multiplication and then finally any additions and subtractions. So we would do the multiplication before the addition. So let's do the multiplication first. 2y multiplied by y. Well, that'll be 2. And then we've got y times y, that's y squared. So 2y multiplied by y is 2y squared. But we still have our y plus in front of that, so it's y plus 2y squared. And then if we turn those around, because remember if we do like 10 plus 2 or 2 plus 10, they're both equal to 12. So if we turn this around, we would get 2y squared plus y. And if we have a look here, that's our option here. So that's our last option. So 2y squared plus y is our answer. So Isla's answer should be 2y squared plus y, or y plus 2y squared. And the reason is she would have to do the multiplication before doing the addition. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 18. And question number 18, we've been asked to simplify m squared multiplied by m squared. So earlier on we talked about if we've got the same base, m and m, we can just add the powers here whenever we're multiplying these terms together. So that'd be m to the power 4. And let's just check, m squared is m times m, and m squared is m times m. And if we times them together, we've got m times m times m times m, which is m to the power 4. Okay, here we've got w to the power of 9 multiplied by w to the power of 8. Again, we can just add the powers, so it'll be w to the power of 17. And if we wanted to, we could write out w times w times w and so on, and you'd end up with w to the power of 17. Okay, let's have a look at our next part, part C. So part C, we've got 8k cubed multiplied by 2k squared multiplied by k. So if we're working on something like this, I would tend to multiply the numbers at the front first of all. So 8 times 2 is equal to 16. And then we've got k to the power of 3 multiplied by k to the power of 2 multiplied by k. Now this k, we could put a power here. It's k to the power of 1. K to the power of 1 is a k. So we've got k to the power of 3 multiplied by k to the power of 2 multiplied by k to the power of 1. So we just add the powers. 3 plus 2 is equal to 5 plus 1 is equal to 6. So it'll be 16k to the power of 6. And that's it. And just to recap that, we've got 8k cubed multiplied by 2k squared multiplied by k. Well, 8 times 2 is equal to 16. And k cubed multiplied by k squared, that'll be k to the power of 5. And then multiplied by another k would be k to the power of 6. So the answer is 16k to the power of 6. So part D, we've got negative 5y squared multiplied by 5y. So we've got a negative times a positive, and a negative times a positive is a negative, so let's put that down to begin with. And then we've got 5 times 5, that's going to be 25. And then we've got y squared multiplied by y, well that's y times y, which is y to the power of 3, or y cubed. And remember, if you've got y squared times y, that's going to be y to the power of 3, or y cubed. Also, you could say that's 5y to the power of 1 and add the powers that way if you wanted to, and that'll be y to the power of 3. And that's it. So now we'll just be careful of the fact you've got a negative times a positive, and a negative times a positive is a negative. So the answer would be negative or minus 25y cubed. Okay, let's have a look at our next part, part E. So part E, we've got 4am multiplied by m. So let's deal with the numbers to begin with. So that's just going to be 4. And then we've got am multiplied by m. Well, then we've got a. And then we've got m times m, and m times m is m squared. So the answer would be 4am squared. And that's it. Okay, let's have a look at our next part, part F. So part F, we've got negative 2 multiplied by negative 4ay multiplied by negative 2a. So let's deal with the numbers to begin with. We've got negative 2 times a negative 4. Well, negative times a negative is a positive, and 2 times 4 is 8, so that's 8. And then we're multiplying that by a negative 2. Well, 8 times negative 2, well, that's a positive times a negative, which is a negative. And then we've got 8 times 2 is 16. So that means that negative 2 times negative 4 times negative 2 is negative 16. And just to check that, a negative times a negative is a positive, times a negative is a negative, and 2 times 4 times 2 is equal to 16. That's negative 16. Now let's deal with the letters. We've got ay multiplied by a. Well, a times a is a squared, and then we've just got our y. So the answer would be negative or minus 16a squared y. And that's it. Okay, let's have a look at our next part, part G. So part G, we've got 6ay multiplied by 3ay. So 6 times 3 is 18. Then we've got a times a, that's a squared. And then y times y is y squared. So that means that 6ay multiplied by 3ay would be 18a squared y squared. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 19. So question number 19, we're told that a rectangle and a square have got the same area. So we've got a rectangle and a square. Let's actually draw a little sketch here. So I've just drawn a little square of a rectangle and a square, and we're told that the rectangle and square have got the same area. And the rectangle has got a length of 12x, so 12x, and a width of 3x. And we've been asked to find the length of each side of the square. So let's start off by finding the area of the rectangle. So to find the area of the rectangle, we're going to do the length multiplied by the width, and 12 times 3 is 36, and x times x is x squared. So that means the area of this rectangle is 36x squared. That means the area of the square is also 36x squared. So we want to figure out what multiplied by itself, because remember it's a square, that means that the length and the width are the same as each other. So what multiplied by itself will be 36x squared. Well, 6 times 6 is 36, so it's going to be 6 and 6, and then it's going to be x and x. And let's just check that. 6x times 6x, well, 6 times 6 is 36, and x times x is x squared. So the length of each side of the square would be 6x, and that's it, 6x. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 20. So question number 20, we've got this pyramid, and we're told to find the contents of each empty box. So each one of these empty boxes, we need to multiply the two terms directly beneath it. And we've been asked to complete the multiplication pyramid. So let's work out this square. We've got 3 multiplied by y. Well, 3 times y is 3y. And then in this box, we've got y times 4. Well, y times 4 would be 4y. Again, just putting the number at the front, so 4y. And finally, this box here, well, 3y times 4y. Well, 3 times 4 is 12. And y times y is y squared. So that means the box at the top will be 12y squared. And that's it. And that's the question done. Okay, next question, question number 21. So question number 21, we're told that Henry, Jack, Leon and Connor are trying to work out 4w squared multiplied by 2w to the power 5. Now there's 4 of them, so hopefully one of them's got the right answer. Henry says the answer is 6w to the power of 7. Jack says the answer is 8w to the power of 7. Leon says the answer is 8w to the power of 10. And Connor says the answer is 6w to the power of 10. We've been asked to tick a box to show who's correct. Okay, right, so there's only one way we actually figure out who's right, and that's actually to work out the answer. So 4 times 2, dealing with the numbers at the front to begin with, 4 times 2 is 8. And then we've got w squared times w to the power 5, so it's going to be w. And remember, we add the powers, 2 plus 5 is equal to 7. Because w times w times w times w times w times w times w would be w to the power of 7. And that's it. So we've got 4 times 2 is 8, and w to the power of 2 multiplied by w to the power of 5. We add the powers, that'd be w to the power of 7. So the answer is 8w to the power of 7. And then we need to see who's right. So the answer here is Jack. Jack's correct. So tick the box, so Jack's correct. And that means that Henry's incorrect, that Leon's incorrect, and that Connor's incorrect, and Jack is correct. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 22. So question number 22, we've been asked to simplify 2y cubed multiplied by 3y squared. So let's deal with the numbers at the front to begin with. 2 times 3, that's equal to 6. And then we've got y. And then let's add the powers. That's 3 plus 2. And 3 plus 2 is equal to 5. So if we had 2y cubed multiplied by 3y squared, well, 2 times 3 is 6. And y cubed multiplied by y squared, that'll be y times y times y times y times y. That's y to the power 5. So the answer is 6y to the power 5. Okay, our next question, question number 23. So question number 23, we've been asked to simplify 6c squared d multiplied by 4cd cubed. So let's deal with the numbers to begin with. So we've got 6 times 4, that's going to be 24. Then we've got c squared times c, well, that's going to be c cubed, because you've got c times c times c, that's c cubed. And then you've got d multiplied by d to the power of 3. When we're asked d to the power of 1, you add the powers, that'll be d to the power of 4. Or if you had d cubed and you multiply by another d, it'll be d to the power of 4. So the answer would be 24c cubed d to the power of 4. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 24. We've been asked to simplify y to the power of 8 multiplied by y to the power of negative 2. Well, again, we just add the powers. Because we've got the same base y, we can just write y. And then we just need to add the powers. We've got 8 plus negative 2, or negative 2 plus 8. And negative 2 plus 8 would be 6. So it's going to be y to the power of 6. And that's it. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 25. And we've been asked to simplify this, okay? So let's deal with the numbers at the front to begin with. So we've got 8 multiplied by 2, that's 16. Now let's deal with the a's. We've got a to the power of negative 3 multiplied by a to the power of 4. So let's add the powers. Negative 3 plus 4. Well, negative 3 plus 4 would be 1. So it's going to be a to the power of 1, or just a. And then we've got c to the power of 4 multiplied by c. Well, c to the power of 1, or c. And c to the power of 4 multiplied by c would be c to the power of 5, or adding the powers would be c to the power of 5. So the answer is 16a c to the power of 5. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 26. So question number 26, and it's a non-calculator question, and we've been asked to simplify 3/5 multiplied by 20y. So let's deal with the numbers to begin with. We've got 3/5 multiplied by 20. Now we could do 3/5 multiplied by 20 like this, so where we do 3/5 multiplied by 20, and 20 is the same as 20 over 1. And then we could do 3 times 20. Remember, to multiply fractions, you just multiply the numerators and multiply the denominators. So 3 times 20 is equal to 60. And then on the denominator, you've got 5 multiplied by 1, that's equal to 5. And 60 divided by 5 is equal to 12. So that means that 3/5 multiplied by 20 would be equal to 12. Or another way to do that, instead of doing 3/5 multiplied by 20, we could do 3/5 of 20. And to work out 3/5 of 20, we divide by the denominator and multiply by the numerator, divide by the bottom times by the top. So we take our 20, we divide it by 5, which is equal to 4, and then we take our 4 and we multiply by the numerator. 4 times 3 is equal to 12. So 3/5 of 20 is equal to 12. So we could either do 3/5 times 20, which is equal to 12, or we could do 3/5 of 20, which is equal to 12. And then that's the number at the front. And then we've just got our y, so the answer is 12y, and that's it. So 3/5 multiplied by 20y would be 12y, or 3/5 of 20y would be 12y as well. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 27. So question number 27, we're told the rule for a sequence is that each term is found by multiplying the two previous terms. So to find this term, we multiply the two previous terms. To find this term, we multiply the two previous terms, and so on. And we're told the first two terms are 2x and 3y. So let's find the next three terms. So to find this term, we're going to multiply these two together. So 2 times 3 is equal to 6, and then we've got x times y, that's going to be xy. So 2x times 3y is 6xy. Now to find the next term, we're going to multiply these two terms together. So we're going to do 3y times 6xy. So let's multiply the numbers at the front. 3 times 6, that's 18. And then let's deal with the x's. We've just got x, and then we've got y times y, that's y squared. So 3y times 6xy would be 18xy squared. And then finally, this term here, to find this term, we're going to multiply these two terms together. So we're going to have to do 6 times 18. That's a non-calculator question, so we're going to do 18 multiplied by 6, and let's see what we get. 6 times 8 is equal to 48. Put our 8 down and carry our 4. 6 times 1 is equal to 6, plus 4 is equal to 10. So that means that 6 times 18 is equal to 108. So we've got 108. Now let's deal with the x's. We've got x times x, that's x squared. And then we've got y times y squared. Well, y times y times y is y cubed. So that means that our next three terms are 6xy, 18xy squared, and 108x squared y cubed. And that's it. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 28. And question number 28 says simplify, and we've got in brackets 4cd cubed, and then we've got close brackets squared. So to work this out, we need to multiply what's in the brackets by itself, because we've been asked to square this. So let's multiply what's in the brackets by itself. So that'll be 4cd cubed multiplied by 4cd cubed. And whenever we do that, we get 4 times 4 is equal to 16. C times c is c squared. And finally, d cubed times d cubed, we add the powers, that'll be d to the power of 6. So the answer is 16 c squared d to the power of 6. And that's it. Okay, let's have a look at our last question, question number 29. So we've got this shape, and we've been asked to write an expression for the area of the shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this shape into two rectangles. So I'm going to cut it vertically like so. You could probably cut it horizontally if you wished instead, but I'm going to cut it down vertically like so. So we've got this rectangle, and what we're going to do is we're going to find the area of each of them and then add them together. So let's start off with this rectangle here. So we've got 2x and 6y. So 2 times 6 is equal to 12, so 12, and then we've got x times y, that's 12xy. So the area of that rectangle is 12xy. Now let's deal with this rectangle over here. Now we've got 2y, but we don't actually have this measurement here, so let's find this length here. Now the whole width of the shape is 5x, and this part is 2x. So that means that this part here would be 3x, because 2x plus 3x is 5x. Now we can find the area of this rectangle here. So 2y times 3x, well, 3 times 2 is equal to 6, and then we've got xy, so 6xy. So the area of this rectangle is 12xy, the area of this rectangle is 6xy, and to find the area of the whole shape, we're just going to add those together. So 12xy plus 6xy would be equal to, well, 12 lots of xy plus 6 lots of xy would be equal to 18 lots of xy. So the expression for the area of that shape would be 18xy. And let's write that down, 18xy. And that's it. So these have been the video solutions to the multiplying terms practice questions on Corbettmaths. If you want to recap on this topic, if you go to corbettmaths.com/contents and scroll down to video number 18, there's a dedicated video tutorial there on multiplying terms. There's also some practice questions in these are the practice questions, and also a textbook exercise. Alternatively, you could scan this QR code and bring you straight to the video. But again, I really hope you found these video solutions useful. If you have found them useful, please like it and please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you. Cheers. Bye.